this live. Here we go. And then boom. There we are. It's so official when you have a 30-second countdown to start anything. It really is. What's up, interwebs? Andy McCabe here. I'm on day 4 of COVID round 3, and I am barely vertical. I am not at my office. This is my lovely closet, and I'm not going anywhere. So you're seeing me in my native environment. What's up, Mr. Joe? What is new, my friend?
Man, I mean, this year is flying to an end quicker than I can realize.
Tell me
And
about it.
considering that normally we are busier than shit and it's flying by, I don't know why it's going by so quickly, but everywhere in the country, it is dead as a doornail.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's slow. This is I had OP Almaraz on the phone last week, and he said there's some restores that are really hurting right now because it is such a down year. And then combine that with the the reality that insurers are doubling down on their denial rates and making it so hard to get paid. Um, this is there's going to be a lot of restores that don't exist in 2024.
Well, I mean,
Um,
you got to look at it like this here. There's a couple of massive issues going on. One, ever since COVID, the amount of people that work from home has grown exponentially. So those people who are normally out in the office would come home after a water loss that happened in the middle of the day, flooding their home out. They're there catching it before it's a massive ordeal and taking care of it. The
mhm.
next issue they got going on is that the economy is so messed up right now and shit is so expensive that nobody wants to file a claim because they don't want to have to pay for the deductible because they can't afford it. And
Mhm.
then third, obviously, we had a shit hurricane season in the south. We had a shitty rainstorm season in the Rocky Mountain area this year. Wildfires didn't hardly hit at all in California. I mean, we've just had
But zero hurricane action this year.
yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean, the
just
hurricane that did come through was
non-existent.
just it was like, ha ha ha, I'm a hurricane. Look at
It's
me.
like,
Bye.
yeah, see ya. Let's see here. We get Mr. Bob Timmel in the house. Mr. Timmel, man, what's new?
Not much. How you been?
I've been sick. I've been sick as shit.
Oh, that's not good.
I don't get to go to the office until next week at this rate because COVID. So
Well,
yeah, it doesn't get any more fun. This is the third time I've had it. So it's just ugh. So you're seeing me. This is my native environment here today.
yeah.
That's
I'm not sick, but I got a couple bulge discs that are putting me down for the last couple of months. I'm trying to work through it.
because you
Oh
lift weights
goodness.
too hard.
That's what?
You lift weights too hard. You got to stop pumping that iron, man.
Yeah, I haven't pumped iron in a while now. So,
All right, so we have an adjuster in South Florida that says he's pretty busy. I don't know who you are, but you're pretty busy denying freaking claims, sir. I mean, you got a set on you coming onto the Restoration Rebel page and saying
Well,
that.
they're
But
probably
whatever,
from my
okay.
group. They're probably from my
I'm
group there. So
I'm sure you're busy, but you're not busy making sure restores are staying in business. I'll tell you that. All right, I will refrain on those comments. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Um,
and I
okay.
will tell you this here from looking at who the user was. He's actually not. He's actually probably a decent. He's actually one of the decent adjusters.
Okay. I
It's not
stand corrected.
Justine. He's not Justine decent yet, but he's a decent guy.
I stand corrected. Hey, I am jaded. I'm a 22-year veteran of this industry. I've been burnt. I have been burnt. Okay, Louisiana, huh? So many folks who don't even know they have damage from 3 years ago. Yeah, it's so. This is terrible. This is a really really hard environment. So up until I contacted COVID, um, OP and I were going to get on the horn and talk about this very thing. Is how can we as an industry support each other through this I would say historically slow time.
I mean,
And
the
what are some
first
things we can do? I mean, obviously you got to pare down, right? If the work isn't there, you've got to shed weight. But what else is there? Go ahead, Joe. I interrupt you.
nobody wants to lose their employees just because they're slow, because they know that this is like the most
Right,
recession-proof industry there is, and eventually, you know, if you don't like it right now, it'll come back next year and be fine.
right.
So you gotta take it as this is the greatest time you could think of to have to actually be able to invest in your employees with a little bit of training, because we've had so many good years. I mean, unless you just started your business this year, you shouldn't be like, oh, we're about to flounder for the most part. I would
You
like to
should have
think,
a nest egg of some kind.
yep,
Okay.
invest in that there.
A
Learn,
rainy day fund.
look into diversifying some. I mean, just because you're only doing water losses, and maybe and looking at and doing water and mold, maybe it's time to branch out a little bit and try a little bit of firework, or find a restoration company that you could maybe partner up with and say, hey, I would like to do firework. Can we help out? And and learn it a little bit better. Maybe you want to, maybe get into doing trauma or meth lab cleanups. I mean, tear gas cleanups. I mean, there's so many aspects of this industry that you have the ability to expand. I mean,
That's true. I've got a new client who just came on board with Quick Check, and they do a lot of crawl space work. And water intrusion in a crawl space not going to be covered, but they still do that work. So they found a way to do the work profitably, and they don't have an insurance company to bill. So, I mean, there are other ways to make money besides doing insurance work, and you have the expertise, right? You know how to dry stuff, you know how to deal with water, you know how to deal with mold. So, yeah,
yeah. I mean, one of the most underrated, and it can be a claim, one of the most underrated jobs that restoration people are uniquely experienced to do is attic animal feces cleanups. Like
Yeah.
raccoons got in the attic and shit everywhere. You get to go in there, pull the insulation out. Usually you
those
have
are
to
the
cut some of the
worst.
dry. They sound like the worst, but oh my God, the last one I
That's the
did, it was
worst.
like 30 or 40 grand worth of work.
Can vacuum it
Uh,
up.
You have to go in there and pull all
Vacuum
the
it up. Yep.
insulation out. You got to cut the drywall out where the urine is soaked into the drywall. And then you get the repair side and all. I mean, dude, anytime someone says I got a raccoon in the attic, I'm like, let's go.
And the
Ah,
carriers will cover that. Most will cover
Yeah,
that.
raccoon.
almost every carrier will
Yes.
cover, because a raccoon
Raccoon is a
and a,
mammal,
and a possum,
Great
not a
diseases,
rodent.
a
potential for
raccoon
disease.
is not a rodent, and a possum is a marsupial,
Oh,
so they do not fall
also
under the
not a rodent.
rodent. Why are
They
you
have a
looking at me looking
pouch.
weird?
Their babies go in a
Yeah,
pouch.
so they're not
I,
considered rodents.
I've got a
So insurance
pouch.
coverage applies to it.
I've developed a pouch.
Does it look like a tail in front and a tail in back?
You can have up to 20
Oh,
baby possums at one time.
good Lord.
But I mean,
What's up, Mrs. Insurance? What
I
is
ain't seen
new?
her since RIA. I
So
thought she didn't like us no more.
Man,
I
I
do.
thought she
Hi.
retired or
How
something.
are
Or
you?
didn't like me.
Happy New Year.
And I,
Happy almost New Year.
Almost New Year. So everyone is just dying to see all the restores, and I love all your suggestions, Joe's, about if you're staying slow and wanting to keep good quality employees and not mess up their health and benefits. Like, stay in there, you guys. You owners, you all did very, very well. pretty much all of you projected low gross revenue to get great premium on your insurance policies that don't have flat rates. So if you projected 1 million and you end up doing 1.8 million, you did not pay premium on that if you were on a flat rate. So use that money to float your guys. Don't lose them. It takes more to bring them on board because they might leave you and go to another competitor. So keep them busy by, cleaning out the trucks, adding things to the trucks, giving them some ICRC training. I thought all Joe's ideas were great.
There's Lou. Lou's in the house.
Well, and I mean, also, like, it's a perfect time. Like, if you've been doing mold remediations for, with antimicrobial and pump sprayers and wire brushes still, it's a great time. Investigate some into doing serum or, or looking into some newer technologies that you can, fine tune your mechanics on that don't have a
Also, we
massive.
have a lot more hoarders due to COVID. So, maybe advertise that you'll do some hoarding cleaning.
And nobody has contents coverage for that crap.
Not taking custody and control of other people's property, as long as it's staying on their site and they still have possession on their property, it's still covered under their policy. So if you have that availability to do hoarding cleanup, I know they do offer another accreditation for that, if it turns into a biohazard.
True.
But,
well, and I mean, if you have a truck mount, if you got a truck mount and it's got a water tank on there, you are perfectly designed to be able to clean carpets, which I know no one really wants to do because that's why we got into restoration to get out of that. But hey, I tell you right now, if I'm doing a recon job and there's carpet that needs to be cleaned, why sub it out when I can do it myself, especially if we're slow?
Carpet cleaning is a valid revenue stream. Valid. Very valid. So Jeremy says restorers in Australia are slow also. You guys are coming in this summer over there, I think, right?
Yep.
So historically bad wildfires over the last 5-ish years, but nothing as bad last year. Maybe because everything burned already. I don't know. But it's a strange time to be a restorer. That's for sure.
And I mean, so far, I mean, what you guys also have to remember, like, this has been the hottest year on record. Like, not like it's on record for the year. So I mean, it's gonna have to snap though. And usually when it snaps, it goes really far one way and then it snaps really far back before it balances back out again. So I hope to think that maybe next year or so we get a little bit some traumatic weather. I hate saying that.
I don't know that we're ever going to see any balancing out ever again. That's just the nature of how thermodynamics and global atmospheric conditions work in a ever increasing warming world. So yeah, I am with you on the extremes though. We are going to see ever increasing extremes back and forth. You guys see the video of that storm in Dubai this week?
Oh yeah.
That was crazy. Right? A desert. It was like straight up hurricane winds and thunderstorms.
Really?
Oof. Oh yeah. What's up, Mr. Jeremy?
Yeah, it was like a monsoon over there, wasn't it?
Oh, it was crazy.
Hey there.
What's the good word, Jeremy?
Well, I don't know. Just learning from all the wisdom coming out.
Not a lot of that coming out of me these days. I've been sick as shit.
Yeah, you sound.
Well, let's talk about something exciting that is coming up, shall we?
Let's talk about it.
So we have some trade shows that people might want to take an eye out for and see if they can budget that for the
trade
2024
shows.
Year.
Well, you're going to have to start out with the RIA.
Well, let's start out with the RIA, shall we? The Restoration Industrial Association, an industry that's over 75 years old. It's an international agency, and it really supports the true restorer that's trying to navigate this industry and keep its integrity. The RIA this year is putting on a great trade show in Chattanooga, Tennessee. It's an
We're going to
all
come back to
hands
this
on
question.
deck.
So
It's an all hands on deck to address the needs for all of us supporting each other and making sure that we're being fair, firm, and consistent with all parts of this industry that's ever changing, and how we're going to navigate with these insurance companies that are trying to dictate our pricing. So I think it's great to know that the RIA is really coming with a strong voice about how the restorers are feeling about being pigeonholed into price fixing. That show is going to be in Chattanooga, Tennessee, April
no,
3rd through the 10th.
the RIA? No, RIA is in Dallas.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I lied. The RIA is in Dallas, Texas, and that's April 8th to April 10th at 300 Union Boulevard.
And there are still hotel rooms open. There's a block of hotel rooms, like 230 a night, which is pretty good for where they're at. Here's my pitch for the RIA. If
I'm not going to Walmart to buy a table, by the way, this year.
Oh, come on. It wasn't Walmart, was it? It was Walmart?
Yeah, we had to find a Walmart.
We did have Walmart.
Jennifer, you are buying your own furniture.
I asked for one table. And it was like pulling teeth.
Okay. So RIA, if you want to influence the industry, if you want this industry to have a voice, you need to be heard. And out of all the associations there are, the RIA makes the most sense. There are a lot of different niche associations. The Rebels tried their hand at their own association a while back. But at the end of the day, it's the tried and true. And the RIA has been doing a whole lot of really great things with not a whole lot of membership. So if they're sitting at 2,000 members today, imagine what they can do with double that. Imagine what they can do with triple that. And once we get 6,000, 7,000, 10,000 members to the RIA, then we can start really influencing policy throughout this country by way of actual lobbying. Because let's face it, that's how the insurance companies are getting their way and having their sway in policy decisions and legal laws that are. I mean, look at Florida. Yeah,
you can go to this show, this
insurance lobby.
Yes, and you can go to this show and learn about legislation, training, industry standards, new technology. Visit the exhibit trade show. Look at the newest and most current equipment, as well as see like what kind of software is available internally for managing your fleet management for your vehicles, your safety, tracking your equipment. There's now little ways to track the equipment. There's also great software for tracking your labor. This whole registration for this show is $299 for the session access as well as the industry exhibit hall. So I think there's an RIA party as well. So I really encourage anyone that doesn't or hasn't registered yet to do so for $299. Again, the trade show is in Dallas, Texas from April the 8th until April the 10th.
Restorationindustry.org. Just do it.
Okay.
And if you do it, you get to hang out with me and Andy.
Yes. And we're going to have some sweet couches.
And Jennifer.
Let's coordinate our booths a little bit better because we were way too far apart.
Let's do that. I already got my booth, so I think I'm going to be.
All right. I'm going to get on it then.
3 something. Let's all, you and me. Okay.
All I know is
Can I tell people about some other shows if they're not able to make that one? There's also the Experience, which is 2 times a year. It's going to be
not a bad show.
It's going to be a different kind of show because BNP has now taken over this show, and they are I believe they're the Clean Facts magazine already, or the R&R. Am I mixing them up? Help me, somebody, baby. anyway, the experience, I also like this particular show because they've done a really instrumental job in including all associations, even back to the day. This show is going to be in Chattanooga, Tennessee from April 3rd to April 5th. And they have some good keynote speakers also. Very inexpensive show. I think that walking the exhibit floor is free, which is great if you have a bunch of technicians and you want to throw them a bone and let them feel like they're getting a piece of the industry. The experience is a good show for that. They are an all hands on deck association also. So I think they're made up of maybe 9 different associations, whether it be a franchise or the IAQA or the IICRC. They're all there. Everyone's there. Sunbelt's there. United's there. Everyone that's anybody's there. So we should all be supporting these shows. This one's going to be April 3rd through the 5th in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And then if you can't make the experience for the April spring show, then you should try to do the summer show, which is September 5th, 6th, and 7th. And that's every year in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Las Vegas.
And that's the September 6th through the 8th in Las Vegas. And then there's other various shows that are coming up. I'll just put in another one that if you're planning for is Crawford or the Restorer Conference if you're part of Crawford. That one is 17th through the 19th in Anaheim, California.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but if you're a member of Crawford Connection, aren't you required to go to that show?
You are required to go. Yep.
Why would someone that's not required to go to the show want to go to a show like that? I'm not trying to be difficult here. I'm actually asking the question.
This is me showing that I love everybody.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Okay, Lou's picking up what I'm laying down here. All right.
I'm with you, bro.
Take that off. Did you get it off?
There we go.
Hey, to know thy enemy is to know thyself. So if you go there, you can learn how the enemy likes to work, and therefore you can
Again, the important thing is to realize is that if you don't stay involved, your silence implies consent. So if you have a problem with the way the industry is going, you need to use your voice. It's not fair to make Joe and Andrew be your talking heads. People need to get up and say something.
100%. 100%. Put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah.
Or put your mouth where your mouth is.
So I expect to see some of you people at some of these shows and come up to us and say like, yo, we came because we came to Quick Check and we didn't want to miss it. Come hang out with us. We're so fun.
So I was just gonna say that. That's a fun. You guys are a fun group of people to hang with.
Yeah.
Oh, Lauren, I'm going to get you in here. You're on LinkedIn. Okay. Lauren, it's going to require some typing, but this is what you're going to have to do right here.
This is Andy Handholding 101.
Just squint and type this exactly how you see it into your browser bar.
You can do it.
That'll get you in here. I'm going to leave this up here. It's the KXERW9XN3Xer X-ray. Bob keeps bouncing in and out. Bob,
I'm surprised you can't get I wonder if you can take that link and put it into
So
tiny links.
Since you're playing IT for a minute, I'm going to keep going. Have any of you noticed that the government is squeezing you for the vehicles that are not going to be allowed on the road? In California, starting January of 2024, there's going to be several vehicles that are not going to meet the emissions and are not going to be allowed to be registered. So they're going to stop you from being able to register your vehicle, which will make you have to forced to sell it and not be able to use it on California roads. So just be careful because, some of this stuff bleeds into other states.
What vehicles that are currently registerable are not going to be registerable?
This is not fair. This is like
your diesel trucks that blow smoke as you roll down the road.
Yes. A lot of diesels that are over 10 years old. Most insurance companies, I'm seeing a trend that started about 6 months ago in the summertime, is that they don't want to insure vehicles over 10 years old. So don't get all crazy. I just fought like hell to try to insure
I can't get a
truck
loan on a
with
vehicle over 10 years old.
68,000 miles on it, and they said no.
I heard recently from an agent that several companies have dropped insuring electrical vehicles because of the fires.
Oh, really?
Yes.
What kind of vehicles?
Electric
cars. Tesla was one of them.
EVs.
Tesla was one of them because there's such an environmental impact when they catch fires. And I know as a fireman, it takes between 18 and 20,000 gallons of water to put a electric car fire out because they will not go out.
Wow.
Well, I didn't think you could put it out. I didn't think you could use water on a battery like that.
Yes, they have that and foam and everything else they're doing, but that's what they're saying. We haven't done one ourselves yet, but they're going to school and listen to other firemen. They're saying 18 to 20,000 gallons, and now you've got all those hazards from the batteries and everything else that just spewed all over the ground and all over the place. Now it becomes a big environmental impact. So some of the companies are dropping them. If you have electric vehicles, they're dropping you. They're not insuring any electric ones.
If anybody is paying less than $2,500 a unit per vehicle for $1 million limit, you better never put in a claim, and you better make damn sure that any of your drivers that you've ran their motor vehicle report recently to make sure they have a clean record. Because to keep that premium, you're going to have to do the pee-pee dance. So,
oh, the pee-pee dance.
So yeah, please make sure that you're really doing your due diligence. Winter's coming, more rain, more bad weather for the next quarter. Please just make sure you're reminding all your employees like you do your kids when they walk out the door, like, don't forget, keep a safe distance. The roads are wet. Don't use your phone while you're talking.
Distance. Well, I got to tell you.
Culture.
I'm hoping that I can make enough money next year to buy the Cybertruck that I'm on a waiting list for.
Ooh.
I'm going electric, baby. But I've got to make some money first. So go to humanpoweredestimates.com, please.
Hey, I'm doing my part.
When it's negative 32 and your car has no electric, and you can't keep it.
So I heard something new today, and I'd like to know if you guys know about it. Maybe Jennifer does. Liberty Mutual is starting to write policies, I guess, that if you have water damages over 48 hours, it's not covered.
What?
If you have a water damage claim,
48 hours.
And it's gone past 48 hours, yes.
I'm going to get back with you on that.
Well, that's typical. That doesn't
Liberty Mutual. So you're saying that a homeowner's policy is Liberty Mutual is putting an exclusion on a homeowner's policy that your water claim cannot be more than 48 hours old.
Correct.
Wow.
I heard that from another restoration guy today. We went to an open house, and he was there, and he was telling me that's what they were told, that claim got denied because they were on vacation, they were gone, and it went past 48 hours.
This is what we get when we let the insurance company write the rules. That's not the way it should be. The state's insurance commissioners should be writing these policies, and they should be standardized. And they shouldn't be letting these insurance companies wiggle out of coverages. There's policies that are being written that are just worthless because there's so many exclusions. There's nothing that's ever covered.
Yes.
Well, I am going to be bringing to you after the new year an undercover investigation that I did with the NCCI that's in charge of 21 states that decides what workers' comp class codes you fire water restoration guys need to use. And I've been told by one of the very most important people in an undercover interview that if the mold abatement is full blown, what is a word they're using?
Full blown.
Then you have to use the 5473 asbestos class code. And I'm going to be
I haven't been fully blown for a while. Sorry.
I just walked right into that. These are their words, folks. These are their words. I have this on undercover video, and I'm going to bring it to you live for you to see just how ridiculous it was when I asked them what class code I should use if the mold class code doesn't exist. They don't want us to use janitorial, and they want us to use asbestos.
How many states do not have a mold classification?
How many do not have one? There's only 7 that do. Oh, you mean
okay.
None.
Yeah.
Zero.
So there's no mold classification for workers' comp?
No, sir.
So why can't people just choose janitorial?
Well, because there's some underwriters that think that it's a hazard, even though I've explained to them that there's not one government entity that does deem mold as a hazard.
Not one.
And since we don't have a class code for mold, they just decided they could put it in asbestos. Because it's the same.
Because it's the most lucrative for them. That's why.
Yeah. Oh, Andy, they would never do it for that reason.
No. Make more money? No, that's not.
So they said the reason is based on the phraseology, and phraseology is a fancy definition for you guys build containment and you put on an outfit and you wear a mask just like you do with asbestos, so it must be the same.
No, except for it's not.
But if it's full blown, it is.
Hey, if that was just me, then I'm going to be charging a lot more for my mold remediations then. That's all I know.
Well, I'm going to let you guys be the judge. I'm going to bring you this video. It was so fun to mess with this poor little person and spin them up so bad when I finally said, like, okay, so since nobody tells them that they have to wear the cute little outfit and wear the cute little containment, and nobody tells them to do that, because with asbestos, you have to be a contractor and you have to have a special license and you have to jump through every stupid hoop. Since nobody tells them to do this, to build containment, it's just because they have their own little stupid standard reference guide S520. Since nobody told them to do this, what if they won't do this? What if they just show up in a pair of board shorts and a pair of slippers and a baseball hat on backwards? Can they abate some mold?
They could.
And she said, well, then I guess it wouldn't be full blown, and they could
wouldn't be full blown. It'd only be half blown.
So it's pretty good. I have to edit it so that I cannot bore you with the whole, because it was pretty fun to just torture this person. She ended the call with, I'm just going to have to get with my supervisor and talk about this. So.
All right, let's answer a question from the Peanut Gallery. Last week was supposed to be Stump, Andy, and Joe, and then I had a tooth problem. And then this week, anyway, let's answer a question here. Recently encountered an adjuster claiming manufacturer's damage, like saying self-inflicted damage to a roof. How should I proceed? Clearly as hail, client was covered from this insurance company during the time of storm, but now is another insurance company's client. Doesn't matter, they were covered with the other insurance at the time of the storm. How long ago was the storm? I would venture to guess that the old insurance company would have if I was the old insurance company, I'd say you did not notify us in enough time. You didn't give us prompt notice of a claim.
Is that when he got it right?
Yeah, I'm getting blown up.
It sounds to me like, if I would first off ask how long it's been since the one company and the new insurance company has taken over. If it's been like, a year or something, or that's one thing. But if it's only been like 2 or 3 months, it's different. Second off, if they're trying to claim manufacturing damage, sounds to me like then it's still a claim. It's just a subrogation claim for bad workmanship, and it should still be covered. And at the end of the day, if it's in the gray, the insurance pays. So if they can't, they would have to prove. They need to prove that it was manufactured damage and therefore not covered by having a professional come out and write a report up.
They would have to prove their statement. Yep.
Otherwise, they have to pay, because as most people know, and some of you don't, since insurance writes the contract up, If it's ever ambiguous, if it's in the gray, it's always sided with the homeowner and not the insurance carrier.
Should.
If it's not excluded, it's included.
Included. That's right. And then, yes. Okay.
Andy, I just sent you that just for some subject to talk about, but don't bring in the names of it, obviously.
Oh, you wrote me a book here, Bob. You wrote me a book in text.
Now that was sent to me by the client.
Okay. Okay, so they do not do asbestos testing. He wants us to continue with this company after. I'm sorry, Bob. I'm so sick. I can't think anymore. Why don't you give us the Cliff's Notes version? This is like high level stuff my brain isn't ready for today.
Okay, we were called in on a claim that the people heard about us. It was months later. The grandmother died in the house. She was there for 3 weeks before she was found. And the body fluids and everything ran from the couch that she was on down into the basement. The insurance company has one adjuster that they use because they love the guy because he cuts the crap out of everything and they just saves them a ton of money.
Yep.
They brought in a company. I won't mention any names, but they basically left the couch there because it was all full body fluids. They only took one layer of the flooring out. There was 2 layers of flooring. And then they went down to the basement and where it leaked down through the finished basement. They just took the ceiling tiles, but to save the insurance company money, they didn't take all the drywall because the grid work was attached towards the ceiling. So they left a couple feet up there and then took the drywall down below it out.
Okay. So they didn't do a full mitigation. Okay.
They left the biohazard boxes. They boxed up. They boxed it up and took it to a room, an unaffected room, and set it in there where they leaked out all over. They were there for 3 weeks. They asked them to come take them out. They wouldn't come take them out. And they were there for another 3 weeks afterwards. They put some in the garage. The owners, the grandmother's daughter and her granddaughter had to take the boxes out. They had to reach through the couch because in the cushions, their grandmother had jewelry that they wanted to find. God. And they having to buy a Sawzall, cut the couch up to get it out themselves because his company said it was fine, leave it. Or they didn't do it. They left it there.
God.
The granddaughter is in for counseling now. She cannot go back into the house. The house still smells putrid. And the insurance company and adjuster says they will not pay a single dime any more than what they've already paid. And they had the adjuster back out there. It still smells. He says, I don't smell nothing. Of course, he doesn't say that. But
I don't smell nothing. If anyone has done a crime scene or a death scene, they know that's bullshit. Because that stink is intense.
They have a wall upstairs that the fluids went under it and in it, but they left it to save the insurance company money. They put a one coat of Kills on the floor, trying to cover it up. It was the worst job I've ever heard of. I've never even heard of anything this bad.
That's a lawsuit.
The owners had to take the boxes themselves out. Had to cut the couch up, take the couch out themselves.
This is crazy.
Well, you can't reason or argue with stupid. And they have shown themselves to be completely inept and
what
not
carrier?
Up to the
what carrier? We have to know.
What's that?
We can tell us what carrier it is.
Which carrier this is?
Erie Niagara.
Yeah.
Hey,
You know,
I'm
I'm
a firm
seeing.
believer. If you see them on TV, they ain't worth your money.
Yeah. No, so that company needs to be reported. That adjuster needs to be reported to the state.
They
And
were in the
I would.
process of that right now. So now we're taking over the claim. I talked to the owners. We're doing asbestos surveys. First thing we're going to do to see if this house is even safe to be in it, because they cut some drywall and stuff out, never had anything done. Once we get that test back, if it's negative, great. If not, then the reports can be turned over to the state and OSHA and let them open an investigation into what they did on that side of it.
Yeah. I mean, that's just bad all the way around.
Yeah, like I said, I've never seen one so bad to leave the owners to clean up their own mess that's there and take care of the boxes and haul that stuff out and do what they had
It's
to
just
do.
inhumane.
It is. It is. So I'm going to help these guys fight this through the court system. And we're in the process of looking for an attorney now to take it on the contingency. And I think it all on law levels, because, like I said, the daughter is still traumatized and going through counseling every week because of this.
God, I couldn't imagine. That's just, there's certain jobs that I just won't do. And that's one of them. I can't. My brain, it's too emotional. It's like physically traumatic to experience that type of work. It takes a special human being to do that type of work.
I've been in this business 25 years. I've never seen or heard of anything that bad. I've seen some bad claims on water and fire and stuff like that, but on a trauma.
But to drop the ball like that, I mean, ugh.
And it was all because of keeping the relationship with the insurance company so you can get the next call.
Yep. Well, that's what the green trucks do, baby. You got to keep them adjusters happy. All right. How are you dealing with carriers who are denying the insured the right to hire their own expert and have this compensated as a direct expense? Well, they can't deny you anything. You can go out and hire your own expert. But okay, compensated is a different story. I've used this approach that if it's not excluded, that is it included, and they have the right to be reimbursed for hire their own expert if there's a conflict. But I'm still getting carriers saying, no, how are you handling this? The earlier on in the process, in my experience, the earlier on you address it, the better. And if you're not able to get an agreement, then you've got to settle that before you can move forward with anything else. Because I agree that the carrier's experts are rarely, if ever, unbiased, and expert is used liberally. It's not always expert.
Can I inject in this one?
Go ahead, yeah.
So we constantly get an IH on almost most of our jobs.
Yep.
It's water, mold. Mold we have to anyways with New York State laws, but fires, same thing. And if there's structural engineers or something that the insurance company's bringing in said it's fine, and you realize that it's not, and you have your own engineer, if you become an American Policyholders Association, join them. It's a watchdog group. They will go after them, and they will actually had engineers arrested because of falsifying reports. That's fraud. Fraud goes both ways. It goes for the insurance company, and it goes for the people that own the properties. So it goes both ways. But I can't recommend highly enough for you guys to stop the fighting by having your own experts come in. And we tag it right back. We have it in our billing. It's also required to have a hazard assessment done.
Yes, it is.
So in our billing, we put that right in where it's found in the OSHA regulations. We put the numbers right to it. I think it's 1910.132 is a hazard assessment on each and every job you need to do. So that falls under hazard assessment, and that's where we're having them test for VOCs, lead, asbestos, all that. And I'll tell you right now, 99.9% of our fires come back hazardous. And that justifies us to charge hazardous labor rates, suits, Tyvex, filters, everything down through.
Many times, more than a handful of times, I've had the carrier's expert or the carrier's contractor say, "Oh, we tested for asbestos; it's clear." And I said, "That's nice, but we're going to get our own guy." And it comes back hot as hell because the carrier's guy tested 2 or 3 materials, and our guy was given instructions to test the entire building because that's the deal, and they find asbestos. So I would say before the carrier hires somebody to come in, ask them, "Hey, can I choose the expert? If we're going to get an engineer, can we collaborate on that? I have an expert I like to use, or I'd like to bring in my own engineer." But if they flat refuse, just tell them straight up, "Hey, I'm going to get my own engineer, and you're going to cover it because I'm the insured."
I wouldn't even ask them. That's a conversation we have between the property owners. That's between us. There's nothing in the policy that says you have to let them get it.
That's true.
Some policies do say they have the right to choose, but those are far and few between. But yeah, Andy, that kind of shocked me that you would say what you just did. Like, I'm a firm believer. I'm in charge of this job. I'm getting people I trust to do my testing, my protocol writing and stuff. They're regardless of who you hire, they're third party, so they don't have a vested interest. So anybody that you hire should be reputable and be able to do the work. And at the end of the day, first off, like, I'm probably going to have it, the homeowner, just like they don't have to use a TPA vendor. They have a right to choose who comes in their house. You can have the insurance guy come out, or you can have my guy come out. My guy's, I'm not going to say their guy's bad by no means, but he works for, he's being hired by them. Who do you think he sides with in conflict of interest cases? And, and at the end of the day, guess what? Just like everything else, it's a cost incurred. Part of my business is to have my own testing done to cover my ass. So you don't want to pay.
I can't proceed with work on this job, on my job, based on your expert. I can't. I'm just not going to. And don't get me wrong, Joe. I'm not saying any adjusters ever agreed to that. But when I get on the stand and I tell the story, hey, I went to them and say, let's agree on the expert, and they said no, that just one more tick on my side of the sheet there.
That's fair enough. But yeah, but at the end of the day, the thing is usually by default, the carrier's not automatically calling an expert out until they feel there's a need to. But like if it's a fire job, I'm automatically know as soon as I look at the property, if I can already tell, yep, we're getting an engineer out here. I'm going to have an IEP out here. Let's get them on the horn because you're wanting to hire me and I can't do my job till I know what's going on. And so I feel like, if I get, it's kind of like, first one in, first one wins. Hey, I got the guy first, so that's who we're going to go with.
Just so you guys know, there's a lot of industrial hygienists do not know how to sample for VOCs. There's a protocol that's put together for that, how to do it. A lot of them don't know how to do it correctly.
Well, but then they're not really a HERA certified hygienist then. They're just, they pretend to be.
They pretend to be, some pretend to be, but I believe there also is some out there that doesn't really understand it and know it, because this is kind of a newer technology in the last few years that they come up with these tests that are being done. But if after this call is over with, anyone wants to reach out to me, I can go through it and explain the whole process of how it's got to be done to get an accurate sample.
Nice. Okay, so
this is what I will say to that question right there is insurance will tell you they ain't going to pay for everything and all. Doesn't mean it's true or not. There's no law that says that there's no law that says the insurance carrier, it's like the cops. There's no law that says they can't lie to you. And they'll tell you left and right they ain't going to pay for it. But I guarantee you, if push comes to shove and it goes to court, they will end up paying for it.
Mm-hmm.
So in New York State, we give copies of the state regulations to every one of our clients. As soon as we walk on site, the first thing they get in our pamphlet is a listing of all the laws. And one of the laws in New York State states if there's any element of the claim that has an exclusion, they need to show the policyholder where in writing that is excluded.
Yep.
So that's right down to supervisor to anything they say that they don't pay for. That's everything.
When an adjuster says we don't pay for something, that just means they don't want to pay for something. It doesn't mean it's not covered. So we've got somebody on LinkedIn wants the VOC protocols. Bob, can I put your email in the chat here?
Put my email.
Well, I mean, it's
put
just
my phone number. Be easier.
What's
Easier to talk to probably by phone because there's a process you got to go through to do it. But yes.
okay? I'm gonna put just Bob. I'm gonna grab your phone number here. Bob.
well, and just Andy, it's just like what? Remember last summer we had I had that big fire job come in where even I, an experienced estimator, looking at the Matterport, was like, "Oh, it's just mainly the kitchen, and maybe we'll replace the carpets, clean the walls, paint it." I was like, I don't see any settled dust in the back bedroom. I'm thinking like a $40,000 claim. The IEP came out, did a full-on VO testing protocol, found forever chemicals and toxic chemicals from the wire burning and stuff all through the house. Ended up writing it up to be a full gut for like $300,000, and the insurance said, "Okay."
Yes, they did.
They do not want to go to court against an industrial hygienist.
They do not.
They will lose before they get in the front door.
Yeah, that's never going to see the courtroom.
Well, here's the thing, though: is testing for smoke and fire. You want to talk about having a new revenue stream? Testing for smoke and fire and VOCs is going to be the biggest money maker in the next 5 years because once the S700, I think it is, the fire standard, comes out, and we have the actual guidelines to back us up on stuff. I think just like with water mold, how it is,
Isn't that
mold
out?
is now. It's not out. It's in peer review. It's not officially out yet.
Again?
They had to do another revision of it because they got so much feedback.
But it's just like. But I mean, it's just like. I mean, everyone knows like EMSL and different labs. There's so many labs out there now that are doing water testing. Like, I'm a firm believer. You go to a water job, get a little vial, pull it out, tape it up, take a picture of it, extract what you can, environmentally control it, send it to the lab, and let them tell you how contaminated it is. And who knows, you might get a category 3 out of a supply line leak in a heartbeat and not have any issues on it because the protocol, because the testing comes back. And the luminosity meters are great for like to me, a luminosity meter is kind of like a thermal camera. It doesn't, you're not using it the right way, and it's just for show.
Yeah, it's not for diagnostics. It's just for initial assessment.
And so, I mean, getting, people, I mean, I tell people all the time, test your waters. Like, I don't care if it is a supply line leak, get a little vial, send it to the lab. Luckily, like in Indiana here, I'm right down the street, and boom. Hey, lab came back. This had high levels of X, Y, and Z. I mean, think about like this here. What was it? Detroit with what was in the water in Detroit? Lead that was making everyone sick.
Yep.
I mean, that was a supply line leak. You think a supply line leak in Detroit was going to be a category 1? Hell no. Like, you never know truly what you have unless you test it.
So is this the 720, right? The 720 is in their third limited public review? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Which I still believe it should be called the 451 Fahrenheit. Fahrenheit 451.
It's 540?
What are you calling it, Joe?
The book Fahrenheit 451 about burning books and everything. That's what the fire manual should be numbered.
It should be.
But it is. I mean, it's one of those things. Like, the best part about testing and having a third-party review is technically you can invoice it separately because it's not considered part of the claim. It's considered an outside expense for consultant. It's a consultancy fee.
It shouldn't come off of the coverage. It shouldn't come off of the coverage. It's a claims expense. It's not part of any of the homeowner coverage.
So if you have a $5,000 mold claim or mold policy limit, and that mold tester says you, well, it's going to be $2,500 or whatever to write a protocol, which God forbid if it's that much, you still don't need to worry because it's not coming out of the $5,000 budget. And if the insurance,
I had somebody, who was it? Man, my brain is mush. So somebody told me last week, or was it 2 weeks ago, that mitigation activities should not come out of dwelling coverage. Emergency services, exactly. I saw you there, Jeremy. It blew my mind too. So the whole theory is you're required to mitigate, right? The policy says you're required to mitigate. those actions and those costs that are incurred should not come out of your dwelling coverage. They should be they're a claims expense, and they should be covered point blank. And this came from a very reputable guy who's taken this very subject to court a few times, and he says that's just the way it is. And we've just accepted that it's part of Schedule A dwelling, when in reality it's a claims expense.
I see.
And it goes to the theory of detrimental reliance, in that, so what it comes down to is you got emergency services, you get the mitigator out there, you do some drying, and then the insurance company ends up denying the claim. And they say, well, we denied the claim, so you don't have any coverage for this, you're out of pocket for that. And what he said was, that's not true at all, because whether or not the claim is covered or not, you're required to do the mitigation before you find out. So that's you're relying on the insurance policy to your detriment if the claim ends up being denied. So I found that very interesting. That holy shit! So all these times that we've got mortgage company named on mitigation checks. We've got I had one last year where these guys were drastically underinsured. They only had like $110,000 in coverage on this condo.
Wow. And
the mitigation was $60,000 and the repairs was $150,000. But in that scenario, they would have had enough money to do the job, because the mitigation should have been a claims expense, not coming out of dwelling. It was.
I mean, the logic makes sense, but I would not ever see that being accepted. Like, I don't see anybody being like, yeah, that I'll buy that. I mean, unless we get some court, precedents going on, that is not ever going to.
I think there is precedent, though. That's what this guy was telling me. I'll bring him.
Well, it's also, it's also like, here's my, it's like this here, Andy. Mold coverage. You only have mold coverage if the loss itself is covered, correct?
Correct.
Now, is mold coverage an extension of the water? So you have the water, you can use all of your main dwelling up, and then you have an extra $5,000 buffer over, or do you have to? Do you only have $5,000 to apply to mold specific work?
Well, it depends on how the policy is written.
Kind of like code upgrade. Like, is code upgrade an addition to the total amount, or is it specifically for code upgrade items?
Well, it depends on the policy.
Typically, limit means limit.
Yeah, unless it says this is additional coverage.
Yeah. Okay.
But like, I know, like you said the other day that code upgrade is to go above and beyond the main policy coverage.
Yeah, What I said was, if you can do the entire project, including any code upgrades that you have to do within Schedule A dwelling, whatever code upgrade coverage you have doesn't matter.
And
right?
Seeing what I've been seeing after talking to a few people after you said that, because it piqued my interest, was they're saying, no, like if we got to redo a kitchen or bathroom and code says that all outlets within 6 feet of a water source have to have a GFI, and the homeowner didn't have GFIs, if they don't have code upgrade coverage, they're not paying for the GFIs. They'll pay for regular outlets only and all. But they has to come out of the code upgrade style of the coverage.
No,
just like on a roof.
The policy owes for what's standard construction practices.
Well, okay, here I'll give you a great one then.
To current standards.
All our favorite.
Your contractor can't put regular outlets in, right? Legally.
But the insurance only owes for what the client had. That's why, like, roofers are always arguing with adjusters, because they take the roof off and now the code says they have to have ice and water, or they have to have drip edge, and the insurance says, well, they don't have any code upgrade coverage, so we're not paying for that to be put on. And then they say, well, the manufacturer requires it as part of the warranty, or it's part of common practice, it's code for this area, and insurance says no code upgrade, we're not paying for it, period, end of story. And you're saying it's something that I think you should look into and find out for us, because you're saying no, you pay up to, and if it's $10,000 and you need an extra $2,000 to finish the code upgrade work, that's what the code upgrade is for.
Most of the policies I've read, the code upgrade is additional coverage.
Oh.
It's not a limit. It's additional coverage.
And additional coverage means it comes in after you've finished up with the initial coverage.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you right now, 99% of adjusters out there say they don't run it as additional. They run it as you don't have code up. I mean, that's why if you look at all the roofing or groups out here on the Facebook, they're like, oh, they won't cover for ice and water. How do I get them to cover to redeck it? Because the decking space, they don't have code upgrade. We're not paying for it. And
because you can't install subs, you can't do a substandard install.
But they didn't have it already, so they didn't already have drip edge.
It doesn't matter what they did or didn't have. It matters what you're required to do by law. International Building Code says
you have to make them whole.
Yeah, and International Building Code dictates, International Electrical Code dictates these things. Contractors don't have a choice. They have to abide by these rule sets. Just because the adjuster doesn't want to pay for something doesn't mean the contractor doesn't have to abide by the standard practices of his industry.
Yeah, and I can tell you right now for a fact, most time they don't have a code upgrade coverage. Homeowner will have to pay for it out of pocket.
Well, now Andy has a new fight on his hands.
And everybody that watches this here, I think
we got one more.
I want everybody.
I
got one trivia question for you there, Andy.
Okay, you got a trivia question? Okay.
What year was the first standard S520 of the IICRC for mold? What year was it voted on or became the first edition?
2003.
Wow.
I just guessed. I don't have any clue.
Wow.
Well done, Joe.
Brad. Okay.
Okay, Andy, what about the 500? Let's see. Since Joe.
Yes, 500. I'm going to guess 1998.
94.
Oh. I was going to say 93.
The 500 was shiitake mushroom. I think, you know what? He might be right. 94, he might be right.
Well, Lou would know.
94.
It was. Okay. There we go. 94. He's accurate. Good job, guys. Hey, if you guys, like we said, if you have time and you're watching this, people should be getting their guys skilled and trained. And remember this right now. The package policies on the flat rate, the underwriters are getting very, very picky. If you do not disclose that you're doing mold remediation as part of your operation, it is likely, or maybe, they will not let you be renewed in the program. So make sure that you're disclosing that you are doing mold. Contrary to what a lot of you did before, like, oh no, we never do mold, thinking that your carrier would keep you. Now get with the program. You must say you do it, or you won't fit in the environmental package program to get the flat rate with the general liability and the pollution and professional all included. So stay informed about new rules and regs.
So I have a question.
How do y'all?
I have a question going back for as far as the testing goes. You're saying that should be covered under claims expenses to identify what the cost is. It should not be coming out of the structure or anything else. And all policies should have that. Correct?
That's my opinion.
Does the JS held bill come out of the dwelling coverage?
Get that thing away from me. I am on a video chat. Do not bring it.
Uh-oh. I do not want to know what's happening in Joe's house.
She has her bearded dragon out, and the thing's a demon, and she's walking it on a leash like a cat.
Oh.
Isn't the basic definition of overhead, though? I mean, from the question.
Okay, so it's the let's answer Bob's question first.
Okay,
I would say, if JS held in Wardlaw's bill isn't coming out of the dwelling, then your expert shouldn't come out of the dwelling either.
Young associates, they're all expenses.
Young and associates, they're all claims expense. So your
because
expert
they're acting in a consulting fashion.
Yes.
They just don't want you to know that.
They're helping quantify the claim. Okay, so it's a cost of doing business. Is that not basically the definition of overhead?
I mean, buying drywall to be a drywaller is the cost of doing business.
Drywall and paint are costs, and if it's a quantifiable cost, then I can write it. I can get reimbursed for it. It's everything we do is a cost. So you're saying I can't get reimbursed for any of my costs?
I mean, if you want to be in water mitigation, you have to buy dehues and air movers. That's the cost of doing business.
That's the cost of doing business.
And therefore, the cost of doing business is being passed on to the homeowner in the form of a billable item.
Yep.
And if they want to say it's the cost of doing business, okay, then I won't separate it out into an itemized function of, we want PPE needs to be part of the cost of doing business. Okay.
No, we'll just go flat rate.
Well, that or increase your labor rates on the labor side to compensate for it, just like you would a FEMA job where, everything's bundled up together.
Yep.
I do have a I don't have
everything is the cost of doing business, so that's a bullshit excuse. Yeah.
Okay, I got a trivia question for everyone for next week that I'd like for everyone that's watching to chime in on, and I want to tell me this here. I want to know what commercially available LGR dehumidifiers are on the market that actually operate and claim to operate below 70 ppds per day. Now,
are there any commercially available
consumer grade? So a regular dehu and Exactimate is 0 or 1 to 69 ppds. As soon as you hit 70, you go to a large. I want everyone to find me a non-consumer grade, an actual commercial grade LGR dehumidifier or desiccant that will operate below 70. Because otherwise, nobody should, even if you are like me and you're obsessed with doing your PPD calculation, you should be putting into the system. However, there's one DU I know of that is supposedly rated down to 65 ppds, and that's it. That's the only one I can find. So if you guys can find me some DUs to justify using the regular
contractor grade.
Commercial grade. Yeah.
Commercial grade.
I'm not talking about grandma's little brown one that has the water hose on the back of it.
Or the one you put over a Home Depot bucket. Yeah.
Yeah. Those are, find those there. And if you guys can find me, then I'll lay off some of my adjusters. Because right now I've been going at them about that. I'm like, there is no such thing as a regular DU.
No such thing. Not anymore. There used to be, but not anymore. All right. We're going to call it for the night. If anyone would do me the favor, I've had this humanpoweredestimates.com up for quite some time. I checked the form. No one has filled it out. So either that's not working or people are just glossing over it. So go do me a favor. Go there. Tell me if the form's working. Otherwise, hopefully I will feel better, much better next week. And we'll have another thrilling round of trivia.
And then week. I'm just going to throw it in there just for the little plug there part. If you guys are looking to get into better documentation, but you have a smaller operation, like if you're obviously everyone knows I love Encircle. Encircle's $250 a month. It's a 1-year contract, and it's good. It's valid for up to 400 losses. And then if you're going over 400, they make you pay more. It's like $400 a month. Unlimited users. It's great. But if you're a smaller mom and pop shop, if you only got two or three guys and that's it, there's another version out called Rocket Plan, which is, as I like to say, Encircle Lite. It doesn't have the magic floor plan in it, but it has all the documentation, photo packets, digital signatures, everything else that Encircle does. And it's like $100 per user per month, so you can cancel anytime you want. And right now, I will post it into the into the groups and all when I get done here. They gave me a link to help kind of encourage people to try them out. 50% off the first month, or if you're willing to pull the trigger big time, you can get 50% off the first year. So it's only $49, and you can sign up.
What's the code here?
It's going to be the code.
Rocketplan.com.
Well, here, hang on here.
/Joe50.
It's actually part of my little Facebook groupie thingy here. They tied it into that, which I wasn't trying to do that their part, but let me find it and I'll give it to you.
Hey Joe, how much did you say Encircle was?
It's
Encircle
$250
is $250 a month, unlimited users. Here, Andy, I'll send it to you.
Out of curiosity, man, and I'm a big fan, but is anybody using CoreLogic?
CoreLogic. Dash?
Nico and Dash?
Yeah. I'm not super excited about them.
Dash is like $5,000 a year to have a Dash account. It is ridiculous. If you need a good CRM tool,
really?
Yeah. If you need a good CRM tool, look up Job Nimbus. Job Nimbus is they market it mainly to roofers, but I tell you right now,
dude, that is the worst link I've ever seen. I thought it was like a short code.
Well, hang on. Well, it goes to one of their marketing websites that has the link, the discount on it. I'll do a tiny link. Hang on, tiny.
Hey,
link.
you guys said Encircle. You said is about $250 a month per.
$250 a month, unlimited users.
Unlimited users.
And you're required to create or sign up for a 1-year contract.
I love Encircle. I think it's the best program out there.
Encircle is really doing a lot of good things.
I'm never going to talk bad at all about Encircle, but I also understand that some people just don't need to have 25 users, or they don't have more than 2 water techs, an office lady, and the owner working, and that's it. So that's a hard number sometimes to budget for. So like I said, the Rocket plan is nice and cheap, and it is let me see, is this there? Let me see if this is it.
CoreLogic undercuts Xactimate prices. What do you mean? I mean, that's not an estimating platform, I didn't think.
No. CoreLogic is Symbility.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they do. They took the Xactimate price list and reduced it by 30%. But then I've had people tell me recently, "Oh no, you just need to know how to use a program. You can make plenty of money with it." So I don't know. That is still the worst.
I know. Hang on. I'm trying to get it to short links. Hang on here. Just give me a second here. Oh, I got to verify.
I thought
they gave me they gave me a code to use, but they asked me to have everyone use the website because it kind of registers that people are how much, if any, traffic's actually coming in or not. That's just what they ask. Just give me 2 seconds. Give me 2 seconds, and I'll just.
Well, if you use the code, then they know where the traffic came from, you would think. All right.
Here we go. Here's my
marketing hat here.
Hey, this Rocket plan, is it what is it providing as far as us small mitigation companies that are primarily water-based?
Moisture logging. All your forms are digitally able to be signed. It's going to do your photo setup just like Encircle does, where it'll separate it out by rooms and things like that. I mean, it's pretty much everything else that you can think of that Encircle does, except for the magic floor plan.
Content.
So when your guys are out in the field, on an app on their phone, on an iPad or whatever, they're collecting atmospheric conditions and entering it into the platform. And when we're getting ready to submit our invoices, click of a button, we're able to generate a report.
Report, demo notes, everything. Yep.
Oh my! Don't get me wrong. I love Dash and Mika. I'm old school, man. I started this stuff off in Excel, on my own the little spreadsheet that I made. I mean, 25 years ago or 20 years ago, I was submitting atmospheric readings and moisture content readings. And when I ran across a platform that, almost automated that for me. But I'm not going to lie, there's between $250 a month for unlimited users, between what you're telling me for 1 per user, and small operation like I can't. I need to look. I can't afford what I've been
Lou,
spending.
I don't know.
What's your name on Facebook, Lou? What's your name on Facebook?
I have. Yeah, type in my last name. It'll come up, or the company has a webpage too.
Can I copy that? I can't copy that, can I?
What, you can't copy that little tiny link?
I can't select it. Put it in you can put it over here. There you go. Thank you.
But yeah, so if you go to the website, it's the same website as if you go to Rocket Plan. It just lets people know that I referred you. But you get a discount code. It's $49 instead of $100 a month per user, or it's $474 a year per user. And you can sign up as many users as you want at the start there and get the discount on them all.
Oh, I missed that.
Wow.
All right, my COVID brain is kicking in hard.
But yeah, it does the e-signatures. If you buy the little FLIR cameras that attach to your phones, it actually has a FLIR add-on in there that lets you access it and take your photos. So you're not taking a picture of your C2 camera. It does your photos and separates them out and organizes them by the rooms. You can do damage assessments and say this is what was wet and do equipment logs. You can do drying logs. You can even do time tracking on it for your employees.
There we go. Okay.
And they're working on a few other features that I'm beta testing and helping them try to do it work on. But
nice.
Yeah, and like I said, it's no contract. So I mean, for $49, it's worth it to at least try it out one time and see if you like it.
Hey, where does Albie come into all this conversation?
Albie's a CRM project management tool. All right, let's continue. Maybe we'll talk about software next week. How about that?
Cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Lou, because I mean, I can give you all kinds of software that saves money.
All right. See you, gents.
Hey, guys, I appreciate your time, man. You guys have a great week.
You too.
You too. Be good.
Bye-bye.